A very good morning to all my dear friends. I hope you all are doing good. This is Prashant Mamani and a very warm welcome to Study IQ. Dear friends, let's start our day with a positive quote. It has been my philosophy of life that difficulties vanish when faced boldly. This has been said by Isaac Asimov, and something similar was said by Mahatma Gandhi as well. Gandhiji said that don't give a chair to your problems, right? What or how you should take any problems that you have in your life, may it be with your education or may it be with any other thing, right? Just attack that problem, right? Don't think about it, just go ahead, just attack that problem, and you will find that the problem will be sorted out. And one more thing that you will discover is that the problem was only big in your imagination. In reality, it was not that big as we used to consider it. With this, dear friends, one more good thing for all of you, right? It is a sort of Christmas present, you can say, from StudyIQ. Up to 40% discount is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. This is a very good way to gift yourself, right? A valuable thing that will help you build your career. So make sure you check out studyiq.com to know more about it. With this, dear friends, the first item that we have is pertaining to outdated laws. Now, a couple of days ago, we were talking about adultery, remember? And here we have an editorial that is talking about outdated laws that we have in our country, or we used to have in our country. Now, making laws is itself a very challenging thing. It takes time, right? You have to discuss things with different stakeholders, and you have to consult many experts and things like that. So it is a challenging task. It takes too much of energy and everything, but it's worth it, right? We need proper laws if we want to ensure that everything is going smooth in our society. But it is also difficult in our country to get rid of outdated laws, right? We have to get rid of outdated laws, and in last 3 years, luckily we have repealed some 1800 laws. Can you imagine this? Some of the laws, right? This one, most of them, I can say, were outdated, were draconian, they were having no relevance in today's era and things like that. And the latest round that was conducted by the government, we have got rid of 235 outdated acts, and 9 pre-independence ordinances have been repealed as well. Good thing, no doubt. And we should get rid of all those laws which are not in sync with the progress of democracy, or if they are not in sync with the social changes that have taken place after the introduction of this law, or political or economical changes that have taken place after the introduction of this law. The other thing that I would like to add here is that if we go back a little bit, then we find that Law Commission in its 96th and 148th report. Now let me give you a brief about Law Commission. Law Commission is a body, right? It is a commission, or it is a place where the Law Ministry or the Government of India will go if it wants some sort of special advice or expert advice on any particular matter, right? So you can understand the quality of Law Commission. Most of the time you have this Supreme Court's judges who are part of this commission. So basically the stakeholders, or the people who are associated with Law Commission, have you can say practical as well as theoretical knowledge about law. So this is one of the main reasons why government knocks the door of Law Commission when it requires any sort of expert knowledge. Now, in 96th and 148th report, Law Commission said that we should get rid of all the laws that are outdated. In 1998, PC Jain Commission, remember the name here, many times you find this sort of questions. PC Jain Commission was associated with dash dash etc etc. So remember, it is about this outdated laws or outdated legislation and things like that. Now the thing is, for good governance we need up-to-date laws, and many a times these outdated laws are used against law-abiding citizen. I will give you a small example which is not mentioned here in this editorial, but there was a law in India. It was a British era law, and the law was like that. Say for example, if you find a 1 rupee coin or 5 rupee note or any other currency note notes or coins from a street, right? If you find currency basically, and if you don't deposit this currency to a police station, then you can be jailed, and there are many cases in which people are jailed for this thing. Now imagine this law, we used to have it, we have just recently we have got rid of it. So you can imagine that this sort of laws can be used. There is no way to prove whether the money that you have in your wallet is whether it belongs to you or whether it belongs to someone else, isn't it? So in the same way, because of this outdated law, there were many people who were harassed and kept behind the bars. Many times vengeance was been taken in this way as well. So for good governance, we need up-to-date laws, no doubt. And one suggestion that can be applied, or the things that we can apply here, is we can have a permanent commission. There is a permanent commission in UK, right? They have a permanent commission. So as far as I know, what happens over there, that when they introduce a law, they introduce a sort of review date of that law as well. So after a couple of years, or maybe 2 years or 3 years, they will go through that law and make sure that everything up to date, whether it is sync with today's reality or not, things like that. So something like that can be introduced in our country as well. The second item that we have is wait and watch. The name is wait and watch. Many of you might have guessed it, but here it is written in a very big font. So it is about Trump, right? It is about USA's national security strategy. Now, we talked about it yesterday. It was in a news items form, and India has no doubt welcomed it, because USA has placed India, you can say, in a very good position, or it wants to see India in a very good position when it comes to global management. Now, international section of this national security strategy of USA talks about India's emergence as a leading global power. India is very happy about this thing, and it also talks about it has some priorities in this international section. It talks about of course about India. It wants to encourage India to become a sort of economic assistance in the region, in this region of South Asia or Asia, and it also wants this Indian Ocean security, right? When it comes to Indian Ocean security, we have talked about it earlier as well. USA has stated that it recognizes, or it wants India to be a net security provider of Indian Ocean region. Then you can add Quad and other things, and I have gone through your yesterday's answers, right? First of all, thank you very much for all of you for taking an active part in responding or providing your answers. And regarding Quad, I have gone through your answers. Some of you have presented very good points, right? You are adding value to the things that we are discussing here, and this is the beauty of I believe this interactive education. What happens is that you will get multiple ideas, right, from different people, and then you can take with you the bits and pieces that you think that you were not knowing about. So in this way, I would encourage all of you, see, you lose nothing, right? You lose nothing when you share things with other, particularly knowledge, right? When you share with someone, basically it will go a bit deeper down in yourself, so you will remember the points. This is a very practical way of learning things. Do try it. This is a secret, I can say, right, of remembering things for a very long period of time. So do it, right? Do share your knowledge, and I'm sure the way you have responded, you guys will create a chain of reaction, and there are many other boys and girls who are at present not that sure. They are, I believe, standing on a borderline, thinking whether they should take part in it or not. But I'm sure you guys will inspire them and help them to cross this line of maybe shyness. Anyways, so this is what this NSS is talking about, and you can of course add your understanding of Quad and other things with this thing. Now, very quickly, you know it very well that China is a sort of rival of USA. China is going up and up, and China is also flexing its muscles. It is demanding huge amount of respect. It is demanding huge amount of space as well when it comes to geopolitics. So USA is bit concerned about China. It has said that the way China is assaulting the sovereignty of different nations of South Asian region, it is a matter of worry. It has also condemned Pakistan for its terrorism and things like that. But a piece of advice for India in this editorial is that we have to take a stance of wait and watch. It is too early to rely on USA, because we know it very well that Mr. Trump as well as his administration is very erratic. We don't know what will happen or what they have as a Christmas gift for us. When I say Christmas gift, I mean to say that after a couple of months the things could be altogether different, isn't it? So we have to wait and watch. The other thing is that they have talked about many things. They have talked about China's influence in South Asia and things like that, but we haven't seen any sort of physical assistance or physical things or practical things taking or manifesting their words, manifesting into reality. This sort of things are still missing, right? So they are not walking, they are not basically they are loud in words, but when it comes to assistance, when it comes to proving things or support, USA has still, or the Trump administration is still not that much reliable. So we have to wait and watch with this thing. Moving on to another item, this is the most important article of the day. It is pertaining to wetlands. It talks about wetlands, right? And the 2017 laws, comparing it with 2010 laws. Now most of you, I'm not sure, most of you won't be the right word, but say if some of you don't know what wetland is all about, then let me quickly give you a sort of understanding of what wetland is. Now you have a river and you have land portion. So you have basically two, R stands for river, and then you have this land portion. You know that rivers, right, they go up and down, depends on the rainfall season, or if it is an Himalayan river, then in the summertime as well, due to melting of snow and things like that, the water of this river or the water level will go up, right? So naturally when it goes up, it will breach this land boundary. Say for example, right, it will come over here somewhere, and then you will have, depending on the shape of the land, you will have small pockets or small ponds, right, and many a time small lakes as well, depending on the size of the river. I'm sure you can imagine what I'm talking about. So you have river and land portions. So when we talk about wetlands, right, they are a sort of middle ground, right? They are somewhere in between these two things, but they are a very important link, right? So what happens many times, we see this thing quite common in our country, in India, that in the countryside, if we move out a little bit out of urban setup, then we find small ponds everywhere, isn't it? Most of the places we find small ponds during monsoon season, and generally we see people bathing and doing things like that. But it is very important when it comes to ecosystem. What happens is that many fishes, right, that's how their breeding or their life cycle is. During flood season, they will migrate to this small ponds. They will lay their eggs there, and then they will join the main river. And after a bit of sunshine, we know that there will be the connection between this main river and the pond will cut off, and this will provide a sort of protection as well for the newborn fishes from the predators, and they can have their own ecosystem there. It is not only fish, there are many grass, right, marine grass that takes place, or this is how their life cycle goes on. Many other species as well, flora and fauna, everything included in it. So ponds, they have this wetlands, they have their own ecosystem, and they are a sort of reserve, or you can say supportive ecosystem for the bigger river. So these are the benefits, and apart from that, you can also see here it can in terms of economy, you can have bird watchers and you can have tourists and things like that. So good money for the government, and this money can be utilized for the conservation of the nature. Then it provides, as we have talked about, flora and fauna. It improves the quality of water. It improves the quality of soil as well. It reduces this flooding and erosion and other things. So this is wetland. And now let's see what we have got in this article. As I told you, this is the most important article, so we are going to spend a bit of quality time after discussing this thing. Now Uttarakhand High Court this year has basically termed Ganga and Yamuna as living entities. It all started from New Zealand. There was a court, basically a court in New Zealand. It declared one of the river of New Zealand as living entity, and I remember right after a couple of days we saw the same thing taking place in our country. This is the first time that we are seeing this thing in our country, that Ganga and Yamuna, or a river, is considered as a living entity. So basically what it means is that it can knock the doors of the court as well, this Ganga and Yamuna river, right? So now as we know what wetland is all about, it is important to go through or see whether what are the laws that we have when it comes to conservation and protection of wetland. Recently government has passed this Wetland Conservation Management Rules 2017. It has replaced this 2010's rules. And one of the most important thing is that when it comes to 2017's this wetland rules, it is criticized, and one of the main reason why it is criticized, because it has get rid of, or it has dropped this strong wetland monitoring systems, as well as it has omitted important wetland types. So in the earlier law in 2010, under the law of this 2010, you had this rules and regulation. It was given clearly the different types of wetlands and what are the monitoring systems that you have to follow and things like that. But in 2017's law we don't find those things. So basically it is dropped, and which is a very sad thing, because this exposes this wetlands to you can say to all those activities that will destroy it eventually. Now we have some good examples of this, say Chilika Lake, and you have this Pulicat, and I have some maps for you as well here. You can see here this is Bay of Bengal. So in this portion here you have here Pulicat Lake, and you have Chilka Lake. Chilka Lake is the biggest salty lake in our country, and you can see here Mahanadi river is basically flowing in this part. So you have a mix of both saline as well as fresh water, and you have very important bird sanctuary, and you have a very biologically it is a very diverse place, this Chilka Lake, right? And the flows of each type, this salt and this saline and fresh water, you need both of them. You cannot diversify this fresh water for other purposes. We know the value of fresh water. We know it is very important for the survival of human beings and our society, but at the same time we have to ensure that it should go to the nature as well. Many people, they believe many projects that are either in the pipeline, they are going to block this introduction of fresh water into ocean and sea. It is believed that it is a waste of fresh water, but that's not how it is. If you go through some of the experts in this field, then we find that it has many benefits as well of this fresh water, because many times you have this mix system of saline and fresh water, and it has its own unique ecosystem. It creates a unique ecosystem that you don't find. If you remove fresh water, then you are going to kill that thing. And here is Pulicat Lake as well, right? So I hope this is clear to you now. Now in 2010 rules, some related criteria were made explicit. It was given clearly about natural beauty, ecological sensitivity, genetic diversity, as well as historical value. But in 2017's rule, we don't find this sort of things, right? We don't find and the solution to this thing is, of course, we have to add we have to identify and map multiple uses of wetlands. We have to, if there are any use of if any particular wetland is important in terms of historical value, then we have to have that. So we need to change these laws. We have to add these things in it. And one of the key to wetland conservation, this is a sort of definition as well. You can note it down. When I say note it down, I mean to say that you can understand it and keep it in your mind, so you can utilize it whenever you require it. The key to wetland conservation is not just understanding regimes of multiple use, but conserving or managing the integrity of wetland ecosystem. And here it talks about, this article talks about this Deepor Bill, right? Deepor Bill is in Assam, and it is a Ramsar site. Now Ramsar is a place in Iran, and you might have heard about this Ramsar conservation. For those students who are following this lecture for since its inception period, then you know that we have talked about this Ramsar site in detail a couple of months ago. So this Ramsar site or Ramsar sites are designated because they meet the criteria for identifying wetlands of international importance, right? There are many other wetlands as well in our country that are also known as Ramsar sites. Some of them are in the Western Ghat, and what we have found in this Deepor Bill is that garbage from the city is dumped in this wetlands. Now you can imagine how important these wetlands are. This is one of the main reasons why I explained the role of wetland and ecosystem. So when you dump all this city garbage, you know, it has all different types of chemicals and other things, right? So you are basically destroying it, and this greater adjutant storks, right? A bird. This bird, they have started eating meat from this pile of garbage, and in 2017, in January, we lost 26 storks because of, we don't know still whether it is because of food or what, but this thing has never happened here, and it is a matter of concern for the government. It is a matter of concern in terms of environment protection, and particularly wetlands, because now we know the importance of this thing, and salt production and other things as well, right? When we talk about this salt pans, the place where you can produce salt, you know that there are many people who are directly dependent on this thing. But when you remove this rules and regulations, protection and diversity rules from your existing rules from 2010, in 2017 we see that these salt pans are also not protected, and this will expose them to other factories and other things that will destroy these salt pans, and it will destroy the livelihood of many people. So that's everything regarding it. These are the 3 suggestions that are given here, very basic ones, right, that we have to sort this thing out, and very basic thing. But the main thing is implementation. We have to wait. Let's see, hopefully that government will take some action on this thing and will change this 2017's law. This one is about Financial Resolution Deposit Insurance Bill. Now before moving ahead, I would reckon all of you to check out a special video lecture on this bill, right? I have delivered this lecture both in English and Hindi. We have talked about what NPA is all about, what liability is all about, and things like that. I'm sure once you will go through this lecture, then you will come to know how practical side of the, or how economy, right? You will get a sort of gist, a touch of how economy works, and the role of bank, and what happened back in 2008 and things like that. So it is available on our YouTube channel, right? So make sure you check that one out as per your convenience. Now, so this Financial Resolution and Deposit Insurance Bill was in news, or it is in news because of a thing called bail-in, right? It was said that it was believed that government or the banks can take away all the money that you have kept in your bank when the bank is not performing well. This was a rumor, so to speak, in the market, and nearly 5-6 times at different occasions government has clarified this thing. PM has talked about it, FM, that is Finance Minister, has talked about this thing, has clarified, tried to try to explain that this is not how this things are going to be under this FRDI bill. Now, what you have under this FRDI bill, it talks about a resolution corporation. So what this resolution corporation will do when they will find that banks are not in a healthy state, particularly when they will identify that banks are in a critical state, at that point of time they will take over these banks, and they can also use this bail-in thing. Bail-in means they will keep some all the liabilities, right? Some of the liabilities of the bank they can cancel that liability, so they can convert that liability into equity, and in this way this resolution corporation can save banks or financial institution from failing. It also talks about this bill talks about compensation. So just in case if things are not right, or the decisions that are taken are affecting the depositors, then there is a clause of compensating that depositor as well under this bill. So basically you can say that this bill is not going to take away your money. Government is going to place the law is still, you can say, work in progress at present. It is the government is working on it, and as soon as they have done or they have drafted this thing, it will be kept under public domain, and then you and I would be able to comment on this thing. So too early to judge this bill, and so let's again we have to wait and watch for how things turns up in the future. So that's everything, and this one is a very good article, right? Very inspiring, and it also highlights the reality of our society, right? We have, I think, whether it was in this discussion, in Hindu analysis discussion, or in Press Information Bureau analysis, PIB analysis discussion, I cannot remember in which lecture I have talked about this thing, but one of the main reason, if you go back in the Industrial Revolution era, then you will find that England used to promote, or there was a culture of promoting science in the society of England. And yes, I think it was in here that we talked about this rocket systems, right? Tipu Sultan was the first one in the world to use these rockets, but we don't know the name of his engineer. We know the name of the engineer of the British Empire who took away this technology, and they further developed it, and they have used it and won many wars out of this technology. So science is something, if we go back a little bit, in ancient India, science was, or the people who were associated with science, they were respected quite a lot. But at present, you know that even if you, after your 10th board exam, if you are in a bit of confusion whether you should go with arts, commerce or science, most of the time what I have heard is that science is very challenging, it is very tough. So go with some easy options, that is commerce or in comparison to science. But when you say easy or hard, it all depends, right? And someone who is very much interested in science, for that person it won't be that difficult, isn't it? And commerce and arts, right, they are not something that you can term easy. It all depends, right? So, and most of the time the opinions are coming from those people who don't have practical experience with science, commerce or arts. Anyways, so this one is about an award that is given by this American Physical Society. It is one of the world's largest organizations of physicists, and it has announced its 2018's entry as Sakharov Prize. This is the person here after whom this prize is given out. It was constituted in 2006 in the memory of 1975. He got Nobel Prize in 1975, and he was a Russian nuclear physicist, and he faced jail. He was persecuted because he stood for civil liberties. So this particular award is not about scientific achievement. It is more about a human touch or human rights, and generally speaking it is given to those people who have done something who are scientists or who are associated with science, but at the same time they are displaying this exceptional or good quality of human touch, or they have done something for the betterment of human beings, right? And in 2018, these are the two people who have got this award. One is Nargis Mohammed. She is from Iran, and sadly she is behind the bars, right? She is in jail at present because she took a stand for human beings, for the people in her society. And then you have this gentleman here, Ravi Kuchimanchi, right, his name is, and he is a physicist, but very hardly, I'm sure most of you, even I was not aware about their name, to be honest. And we know this sort of things do take place in our society, and media and news channels, they are not interested in sharing this sort of information with us. The work done by these people is not appreciated that much, that they don't get that much focus. But the interesting thing is the story of Ravi, right? I'm sure many of you have gone through the story of Ravi. It is displayed or portrayed in a film called Swadesh. Swadesh was a very beautifully crafted movie. Shah Rukh Khan has played a very good role in this movie, and it is about how a successful person, successful in terms of profession, right, that person is working in NASA, and it was about his story. He was in USA, and then he came back in India, and he made this Bilgaon project of Maharashtra. This was turned into a this was one of the best example of sustainable development. He turned this Bilgaon village into a self-sustainable, you can say, or self-reliable village, and have things can be changed in the grassroots level and things like that. But sadly, we don't know the things that are done by him earlier on. These things are not in public domain that much, or they are not discussed quite oftenly. At the same time, this village was washed away during this Sardar Sarovar Dam construction and things like that. So this is a sad scenario, and it clearly indicates that we don't have that strong triangle, or you can say that we don't have that strong string that connects science with society, with polity, and with our culture. With this, dear friends, moving on to news item, this Pradyuman case, a very famous case. The boy who did this thing, a 16-year-old student, he is being treated as an adult by the court, and he is sent to the session court. So let's see how things. One thing that I would like to highlight here, that he won't get a death sentence as per the laws that we have, but of course he can be jailed for 14 years. And now income tax, you can say, the returns have gone up, not that much, but of course it has gone up. And here are some of the figures about the people earning more than 5 crore rupees in 2011-12. All across India there were only 2,762. This is what you have on the books, but in reality, you know, the figure could be, you can add at least 1 0 behind it, or maybe 2 as well, or maybe 3 as well, right? There are crores of people in our country who are earning more than 5 crores per year. This is reality, and this is not only me saying. Prime Minister Modi as well said the same thing in the parliament. We have to make our system a bit more strong. This is about triple talaq. We know that Supreme Court has struck down this law and struck down this practice of triple talaq, and government has came out with a new law on triple talaq. India is finding some second-hand Russian or Soviet era's helicopters, and these helicopters will be bought by India, and then it will be provided to Afghanistan for its military operation. This one is about India and Myanmar. We have signed an MOU to sort out the problem of this Rohingya, and here is a map. Very important bit that I would like to show here is this river called Naf River. This is the river that they are crossing. This is Rakhine state of Myanmar, and here you have Sitwe port, which is very important when it comes to connecting this Haldia with Sitwe, and from Sitwe you have this Kaladan river, and through that you are reaching this part of northeastern state. This is about RBI's stand on monetary policy, or you can say monetary policy, bi-monthly monetary policy of review of RBI. There is a special video lecture available on this thing as well, so make sure you check it out. I don't know why this is printed today. The things that it is talking about, it's nearly 15 or 20 days old thing. Anyways, this one is about social security. Many economists, they have written to finance minister, and they have requested the finance minister to increase the social security things like pensions and maternity entitlements that have been provided to elderly people. At present they are getting 200 rupees per month, which is nothing, and what they are asking is for 500 rupees. Again, I would say this is nothing at all. It should be somewhere around 1000 or more than that. With this, dear friends, today is National Consumer Day, and here this is an advertisement in today's Hindu, so just to familiarize yourself with the things that are under this. Jago Grahak Jago is the slogan, and 47 IPS officers are facing criminal proceedings. 75 officers face disciplinary proceedings. This has been said by Minister of State for Home Affairs in the Parliament, and this is a very sad thing, isn't it? Top officers of our country are facing this sort of criminal proceedings. With this, dear friends, yesterday's answers, right, both is the right answer for this question about the Queen of England and King George V and Queen Mary. And pertaining to Annie Besant, answer is 1 and 3. So all those of you who have given answer C, in both cases you are right. And the person on your screen, the picture is of Bharat Ratna Madan Mohan Malviya, and many of you have added some information pertaining to Bharat Ratna Malviya sir, so thank you very much again for adding value. And here are today's question: which Mauryan province had a foreign governor? Southern province, Eastern province, Western province, or Saurashtra? Greek Yavana, right? They were known as this foreign governors, were known as Greek Yavana. The second question is which musical instrument was not or is not Indo-Islamic in origin? Sitar, tabla, sarangi, or shehnai? And the third one is which one of the following was not an extremist? Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Madan Lal Dhingra, right, is the right spelling, and Udham Singh. And fourth one is Gopal Krishna Gokhale. With this, dear friends, I end the discussion here. Make sure you check out studyiq.com for more interesting videos. I will share this PDF file on my Facebook page as well as on our Telegram channel. Make sure you share it with someone else as well. Enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.